In this video, we will try to explain why under certain circumstances, pretty rarely, it may seem like in your business your employee or you did everything right. However, the commission of the tendered sale went to another person, to another salesperson. This plagues users of older software that we've been making years ago, because the software used to work a little differently in assigning commissions, and not so much newer users, but it could be confusing sometimes. People tend to think and stick to the thinking that whoever is logged in into the software, whoever's password you use to log in, is always going to be the person that will get credited for the sale and for every line on the sale. Well, that's not the case anymore. It used to be some time ago with older versions of this software, but that's not the case anymore. You see, you can be logged in with one person but credit the sale to another, and we changed that in order to improve the software, because a lot of salons were asking us for years to put in an option where you can just put in a person to credit on each line. Let's say one person will do the coloring service, another person will do the bangs, another person will do a cut or something else, and there are three different persons on the bill, on the ticket, and they all need to get their commission for their part of the sale. So a lot of people were asking for this kind of an option, and that's what we did in these newer versions. And if you watch the newer video tutorials, you'll see that the way you assign commission to somebody is not by who is logged in at the moment. Right now we logged in with Jimmy. We have Jimmy and we have John as our two employees for the purpose of these video tutorials. However, we can be logged in with Jimmy and, you know, have John be credited for this sale, let's say all over color service, and then, you know, we want to do another different service. Let's say we'll go back to Jimmy now for bangs. So now on this line we rang it up with John and this line with Jimmy. So it doesn't matter who's logged in anymore. All it matters is before you click this button, or before you scan something with your scanner, before you enter a service or a product on this sales screen, whose name was shown in here. That's all that matters now. So right now, as I have this invoice in here, if I was going to ring it up, it will credit both of those people. In fact, let's do just that. I'm going to tender this invoice. I'm going to skip this screen. So now we have created that invoice that credits both of those people. However, here's where the confusion comes in sometimes, not all the time. If you're used to having the screen open at all times in your business, if maybe the appointments screen is running or whatever, and you come to a situation where, you know, a different person is in here, let's say this, in this case, Jimmy, right? And you just, you know, click on a service or hit the checkout button from the appointment screen, not paying attention to who is actually designated in here to make the commission, and you come to this situation, Jimmy in here, and the service is already put in. That means this line now is recorded in the database of the software. It's not yet tendered, but still recorded in the database of the software under Jimmy. So now your employee says, oh no, what did I do? This is not supposed to under Jimmy, it's supposed to go under me. I'm John, right? So let me log out and log back in under my password, right? So now here's John, right? And here is the problem. This line stayed in here for convenience. Like if you sometimes want to ring up a bunch of stuff and log out because you want to leave the register and go help the customer find something else, the lines are going to stay in here for convenience. So logging out and logging back in doesn't change these lines. And this line was entered in here under Jimmy, not under John. So now even though John logged out Jimmy's login and logged back in under John, this was already there, entered under John. So if I press tender now, this will go under Jimmy. not under John, because Jimmy's name was here when this line was entered and getting ready for the sale. And that's where we get into a situation where, uh, John thinks that they did the right thing by logging out and logging back in when they realized that it wasn't their name in here. But if the line was already entered, John's name is added to this line in the database, because when it was entered, John was up here. You see, it doesn't matter who's logged in or logged out. All that matters with the new version, in order to make it possible for you to have multiple salespeople on different lines in the same ticket, is who is here at the moment or before you press that button. One last thing we want to clear up is that, of course, now there's another way of entering sales or lines on this sales screen, and that is from the appointments section, which is having an appointment to be directly checked out or sent to checkout from here, from this screen. And that's, let's say Jimmy in this case had this appointment, and once they're done, you can select this appointment and just go to checkout. Now what that is going to do is that's going to disregard the fact that John is on here now. That is one time when this is disregarded. Regardless that John is here now, if you are checking out directly from the appointment, from the appointments feature, from the appointments screen, once you select the appointment in question, you have this checkout button in here. Once you click this checkout button, that line in the invoice for this service, for this person, is going to be put and credited to Jimmy, because it's Jimmy's appointment. And we do that in order for you not to constantly have to switch everything in here. Otherwise, what's the purpose of having an appointment grid that has all these employees all over it with all these appointments? Of course, the easy and nice thing to do is to click on an appointment, click checkout, and have it go to the right person. Click here, like in this case, click checkout, and it's gonna go to Jimmy because it's Jimmy's appointment. It's gonna disregard this, so you don't have to change different things on different screens. That's the only time, and as you see, it changed it to Jimmy when I clicked on checkout. That's the only time that this is going to be disregarded, because you're not on this screen when you're deciding to check out or to enter a service in here. Hope that clears up a lot of stuff. Thanks.